Hello, welcome back to the channel Darkness to Christ. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about end times prophecy and the difference between religious end times and spiritual end times. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because we've all heard of the end times prophecies, the end of the world, the great war, the judgment, the rapture, all of this stuff. And let's go back to the beginning and how it all started. So basically, you had Judaism, the original religion, the Abrahamic religion. And they believed that a Messiah will come. And when that Messiah comes, that Messiah will bring in the Messianic age where humanity will stop wars and there'll be world peace and the love of God will permeate the earth and it will be like a heavenly existence on earth. And then we had Jesus Christ come into the world and he gave his teachings. And from Jesus Christ's teachings, Christians accept him as the Messiah, or his followers accepted him as the Messiah, and they said, this is the coming Messiah we've been waiting for. And then obviously the Jewish leaders or the religious leaders rejected him as the Messiah and killed him, or had him put to death, or the Romans killed him. From there, Christianity was set up. But the few years after, because Jesus Christ said, this generation shall not pass until all these end times prophecies I'm giving will happen. But as these prophecies did not happen, his disciples had to make some sense of it. And then you have Paul, one of the gospel writers or Bible writers or historical figures, basically said that he received a revelation saying that the reason that it seems Christ was a false prophet was because there was a misunderstanding and that Jesus is going to come back and he will fulfill all the end times prophecy in his return. So even Christ's followers around the time acknowledged that he did not fulfill the messianic mission that was supposed to be done because there were still wars, there wasn't world peace, etc., etc. So from there, I understand, once I research this, I understand why they rejected Jesus as the Messiah, because he didn't fulfill it. But then the Christians, as I said, they're saying, no, he's coming back a second time, which I believe they probably just made it up. I believe that Jesus was completely separate and his message was separate from religion. It was a spiritual message from the true Father, not from religious gods. But if you check my other videos, that will make more sense. Now, what the end times believes is that the Jewish Messiah will come and the Jews will say, yes, our Messiah is here. But then the Christians and the Bible writers said and believe that that's actually going to be the Antichrist. And that there'll be a period of peace, but then all of a sudden destruction will come because this so-called Messiah is a false Messiah. But once this happens and the world starts going crazy, Jesus is going to come back for his second coming. And then he's going to fight the Jewish Messiah, the Antichrist, and then usher in his kingdom. And then there'll be the judgment of all people and all that stuff will happen. When if you understand, we say, well, this story is just unfolding, people making more stuff up. The Christians made up that Jesus is going to have a second coming. And then from there, they've made up that he's going to fight the real Messiah, when it's all a load of nonsense. And if you understand it from a spiritual point of view, you'll understand that it is a load of nonsense. But this is where things get even crazier, because then along comes Islam. And the Prophet Muhammad knew about Judaism and he knew about Christianity, but he only knew from stories. It's not like today where you got the internet and you could really, really look into detail and try and gain a true understanding. He just knew stories. So he didn't know what period, was this before that, was this after that? But he knew about the Messiah and how the Jewish Messiah and the Christian Messiah. So Prophet Muhammad then created Islam. And also in Islam, they also believe that the Jewish Messiah will come as Christians, but that will be the Antichrist. But they believe that Jesus will come, but they refer to Jesus as Isa. So they think that Isa is going to come and destroy the Jewish Messiah, but Jesus will reveal, now I'm not 100% sure, but it's roughly right, that Jesus will reveal that he's actually a Muslim and that Islam is the correct religion. And then from there, he'll live a life and have a couple of kids, die, be buried next to Prophet Muhammad and prove that Muslims right and that Allah is God and all this stuff. So basically, it's more made up nonsense from what the Christians made up nonsense, from what the Jews originally believed, which was most likely nonsense in the first place, because it's all religious and gods rather than spiritual understanding of Christ and the Father. See, Christ came to say all this religious nonsense is a load of rubbish. You've been deceived. It's a spiritual message. It's not a religious message. So I take the original view that Judaism was just incorrect to start with, and it probably come from like the Greek mythology and all this stuff. So basically, it's all fear-based as well. It's all, the end of the world, fantasies of raptures, Armageddon, yada, 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 and a judgment and a physical resurrection. I don't believe in all that. I believe in spiritual resurrections, and the physical bodies just die. I don't care about the physical body. So this is where we come on to what is more likely the truth, because I'm not the arbiter of truth. I'm just trying to gain some understanding, but from a born-again spiritually point of view. Now, when you look at it spiritually, and if you go back through the Greeks and all throughout the last thousands and thousands of years, everyone has spoken about the end of an age. Not the end of the world, but the end of an age. And if you understand spiritual views, you'll understand that just as our Father, the Creator, has set up existence, so you've got the moon and the sun and the earth, and the moon affects certain things that happen on earth. It affects the tides. The sun affects the earth. So the sun will give light to the earth, and when the sun moves around, or the earth moves around the sun, there'll be darkness. And in the same way, in like an astrological perspective, our earth will be in spiritual darkness and spiritual lightness. And they're saying that we're currently in a certain age where we're sort of like, it's nighttime in this age, and that when this age ends, we'll be moving into more of a light age. So it's actually not something to be scared of. And people, this is the trick, the Christians will say, oh, this is some kind of new age satanic stuff, but it's not new age satanic stuff. It's not like, it's just studying how our Father set up existence. And for example, if you say, well, there's 24 hours in a day, there's 365 days in a year, that's not new age satanic stuff. It's just understanding how the Father set up creation and gaining that understanding. Now, I obviously reject the Christian idea of the end of the world and all this stuff, but I do agree that we are, and it does feel like we are at the end of an age. And from what I've studied recently, it seems like any moment we could be coming into the new age, because apparently an age may last up to 2,400 years. This is what one person I was listening to said. And I do feel that we are at the end of an age, and that we're actually coming into a new age. So I think it's something that is more of a positive message. As Jesus said, spread the good news. You know, be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. I will be with you until the end of the age, he said, spiritually. And if we follow him, we can live in the light rather than the darkness of the age. And if you look at what's happening now in the world, in amongst all the craziness, there is sort of an awakening happening. A lot of people are coming to Christ, they're turning away from religion and turning towards Christ, and they're gaining a better understanding. Such as myself, ever since I came to Christ and spiritually awakened, everything made sense. And the religions just look stupid to me. Like you see religious leaders and they just look like total dummies. Don't know what they're talking about. We see like fake news getting exposed. We see things like the money getting exposed. We see certain establishments getting exposed. We see there is hope in the world. For example, financially, systems broke, but you've got decentralized currencies like Bitcoin coming in that will create, if it's implemented, a fair monetary system where governments can't print and devalue our currency. No one can, bankers can't control it. It's decentralized. We're seeing social media replacing the news. You know, Elon Musk buying Twitter, whatever you think of Elon Musk, it's giving people a chance to get the real news themselves rather than fake news. So there is a lot of good things happening, and it feels like the end of an age, but we've had thousands and thousands of years of fighting and wars, and it seems like that's part of the old age. And the good news is we're at the end of that. So we should be positive. We shouldn't be thinking, oh, there's going to be a Armageddon, the world's going to end, and we're going to go and be judged. Like, that's a load of nonsense. But we are at the end. There could be, it wouldn't surprise me the way things are going, that if there is nuclear weapons used. But it's just part of the end of the age, and hopefully it won't happen, and we'll be able to usher in the new age. But the new age is hundreds, thousands of years, so it's not something that really is going to affect us, because all we can do is live for now and try to understand what's going on and live a happy, peaceful life and serve the kingdom as best we can. So don't take it too seriously and don't get too down listening to all this end times eschatology. And the end times eschatology actually causes more of the problems, because a lot of these wars are religious wars based on beliefs of, oh yes, our religion's going to be fulfilled. And, at the end times, essentially the Christians believe that they're going to be fighting the Jews, and the Muslims believe that they're going to be fighting the Jews and the Christians, because, Jesus is going to come back, fight the Jewish Messiah, but he's going to say, no, all the Christians are wrong as well because you believed a load of nonsense, when ultimately Christ himself is in the spirit fighting against all religion. And that includes the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims, who are all a bunch of religious dummies who need to spiritually awaken and be born again. So I just wanted to do that video to put down my thoughts on the subject. Comment below if you've got any comments, and subscribe for more if you are not subscribed. Thank you, and God bless everyone. Goodbye.